In life, there are moments when everything around us seems to shift, when uncertainty clouds our vision, when challenges rise like mountains before us, and when the ground beneath our feet no longer feels solid. In these moments, we have a choice to be swayed by the chaos or to stand firm, rooted in strength. To become unshakable is not a matter of luck or circumstance, it is a discipline, a way of living that must be cultivated with intention. There are 7 fundamental rules that guide this path, principles that, when practiced, forge an unbreakable spirit. The first rule is mastery over the self. Before we can face the external world with resilience, we must first conquer the battles within. Our thoughts, emotions, and reactions are the foundation of our stability. When we allow fear, anger, or doubt to control us, we become fragile, easily toppled by the slightest disturbance. But when we train the mind to remain calm, to observe without being consumed, we gain power over our inner world. This begins with awareness, recognizing the patterns of our thoughts, the triggers of our emotions. From there, we cultivate discipline, choosing responses over reactions. Meditation, breath control, and mindful reflection are tools to strengthen this mastery. Without control over oneself, no external success can bring true stability. The second rule is alignment with purpose. An unshakable person does not wander aimlessly. They move with direction, guided by a clear and unwavering purpose. When we lack purpose, we become susceptible to distractions, to the opinions of others, to the ever-changing tides of society. But when we know why we walk our path, no storm can deter us. Purpose is not merely a goal or a dream. It is the deeper reason behind our actions, the force that gives meaning to our struggles. To find it, we must ask ourselves difficult questions. What do I stand for? What am I willing to endure? What legacy do I wish to leave? Once this clarity is attained, every decision, every challenge, becomes a step forward rather than a stumbling block. The third rule is embracing discomfort. Most people seek comfort, believing it to be the path to happiness. But comfort is the enemy of growth. It is in discomfort, in the struggle, the effort, the resistance, that strength is forged. The unshakable do not avoid hardship, they welcome it as a teacher. Physical training teaches this principle well. Muscles grow only when pushed beyond their limits. The same applies to the mind and spirit. By deliberately placing ourselves in challenging situations, whether through rigorous discipline, facing fears, or enduring hardships, we expand our capacity to withstand greater pressures. Comfort weakens, discomfort strengthens. The fourth rule is cultivating patience. In a world that prizes speed and instant results, patience is a rare virtue. Yet, true stability cannot be rushed. A tree does not grow tall in a day, it stands firm because its roots have spent years deepening into the earth. Impatience leads to frustration, to impulsive decisions, to abandoning the path when results do not appear quickly. But patience is the quiet power of the unshakable. It is the understanding that mastery, success, and inner peace are the results of consistent effort over time. Patience does not mean passivity. It means persistent action with the wisdom to trust the process. The fifth rule is detachment from external validation. Many people build their sense of worth on the approval of others, on praise, recognition, or material success. But this is a fragile foundation, for the opinions of others are as changeable as the wind. The unshakable derive their strength from within. They do not seek validation, they validate themselves through their principles, their actions, their integrity. This does not mean ignoring feedback or living in isolation. It means not allowing external judgments to define one's self-worth. When we are secure in who we are, no criticism can break us, and no flattery can inflate us. The sixth rule is adaptability. To be unshakable does not mean being rigid. A tree that cannot bend will snap in the storm. The bamboo survives because it sways with the wind. Life is unpredictable, and clinging stubbornly to a single way can lead to downfall. The unshakable possess the strength of their core principles but remain flexible in their methods. They assess, adjust, and move forward without losing their center. Adaptability is not weakness, it is intelligence in motion, the ability to navigate change without being broken by it. The seventh and final rule is unwavering discipline. Without discipline, all other rules crumble. Discipline is the daily practice of these principles, the commitment to show up even when motivation fades. It is the small choices, waking early, maintaining focus, rejecting distractions, that compound into unshakable strength. Discipline is not punishment, it is the highest form of self-respect. It is the bridge between intention and achievement. To become unshakable is not to live without fear or doubt, but to move forward despite them. It is to stand when others would fall, to remain when others would flee. These 7 rules are not secrets, they are choices available to anyone willing to commit. Mastery over the self, alignment with purpose, embracing discomfort, cultivating patience, detachment from validation, adaptability, unwavering discipline. These are the pillars of an unshakable life. The journey begins with a single step, the decision to no longer be at the mercy of circumstance, but to rise firm and unbroken in the face of whatever may come. The foundation of becoming unshakable lies in mastering oneself before attempting to conquer the external world. Many people believe that strength comes from power, wealth, or influence, but true stability begins within. Without control over one's own mind and emotions, even the most outwardly successful individuals can crumble under pressure. The first step in this mastery is awareness, recognizing the patterns of thought that lead to self-sabotage, the emotional triggers that spark irrational reactions, and the habits that we can resolve. This awareness is not passive. It requires constant observation, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about oneself. Once these patterns are identified, the real work begins replacing impulsive reactions with deliberate responses. This is where discipline comes into play. It's easy to act out of anger, fear, or frustration, but the unshakable individual pauses, breathes, and chooses their actions rather than being controlled by fleeting emotions. Techniques such as meditation, breath control, and mindful reflection are invaluable tools in this process. Meditation trains the mind to remain calm amidst chaos, teaching the practitioner to observe thoughts without being swept away by them. Breath control serves as an anchor, a way to steady oneself in moments of stress. Mindful reflection allows for continuous self-assessment, ensuring that growth is ongoing. The journey to self-mastery is not a quick one. It requires patience, persistence, and a commitment to daily practice. But the rewards are immeasurable. When you are no longer at the mercy of your own emotions, external circumstances lose their power to destabilize you. Challenges become opportunities to test and strengthen your resolve. Criticism and setbacks no longer derail you, but instead become lessons in resilience. This inner fortitude then becomes the bedrock upon which all other aspects of an unshakable life are built. Without this foundation, no amount of external success can provide lasting stability. Wealth can be lost, relationships can change, and circumstances can shift, but the person who has mastered themselves remains standing no matter what storms may come. Purpose is the compass that guides the unshakable through life's uncertainties. Without it, even the most disciplined individuals can find themselves adrift, susceptible to distractions and the ever-changing opinions of others. Purpose is not the same as a goal or a dream. It is the deeper reason behind those goals, the underlying motivation that gives meaning to effort and endurance. Finding one's purpose requires introspection and honesty. It asks difficult questions. What do I truly value? What am I willing to struggle for? What legacy do I want to leave behind? These are not questions that can be answered lightly or quickly. They require time, reflection, and often the courage to confront fears and insecurities. Once clarity of purpose is achieved, it acts as a filter for decision-making. Opportunities that align with this purpose are pursued with vigor, while distractions are easily dismissed. The unshakable individual does not chase every passing trend or seek validation through superficial achievements. They understand that true fulfillment comes from moving steadily towards something greater than themselves. This alignment also provides resilience in the face of adversity. When challenges arise, and they inevitably will, the person grounded in purpose does not falter. They may stumble, but they do not lose their way, because their why is stronger than the temporary pain or difficulty. Purpose also fosters patience. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, the unshakable are willing to play the long game. They understand that meaningful achievements take time, and they are content with steady progress rather than quick, fleeting wins. This long-term perspective shields them from the frustration and impatience that derail so many others. Purpose is not static. It can evolve as one grows and gains new experiences. But at its core, it remains a constant source of direction and strength. Whether in times of success or failure, the unshakable return to their purpose as a reminder of why they began their journey in the first place. This unwavering focus is what allows them to remain steady when others are swayed by doubt, fear, or external pressures. Discomfort is not the enemy, It is the forge in which unshakable strength is tempered. Most people spend their lives seeking comfort, avoiding pain, and staying within the boundaries of what feels safe. But comfort is a deceptive trap. It creates the illusion of security while quietly eroding resilience. The unshakable understand that growth and strength are born in discomfort. They do not avoid challenges, they seek them out, knowing that each struggle is an opportunity to become stronger. This principle is evident in physical training. Muscles do not grow unless they are pushed beyond their current limits. The same is true of the mind and spirit. By deliberately facing difficult situations, whether through rigorous discipline, confronting fears, or enduring hardships, the unshakable expand their capacity to withstand greater pressures. This mindset transforms the way adversity is perceived. Where others see obstacles, the unshakable see training. A setback is not a reason to quit, but a chance to learn and adapt. This approach requires a shift in perspective. Pain, whether physical or emotional, is not something to be feared or avoided, but embraced as a necessary part of growth. The unshakable do not complain about their struggles, they welcome them as teachers. This does not mean they seek suffering for its own sake, but they recognize that meaningful progress often requires temporary discomfort. The ability to endure and even thrive in challenging situations sets them apart. While others are paralyzed by fear or frustration, the unshakable remain calm and focused, drawing on their training to navigate difficulties. Over time, this repeated exposure to discomfort builds a resilience that cannot be shaken by ordinary stresses. What once seemed overwhelming becomes manageable, and what was once unbearable becomes just another test of strength. This is not about becoming numb to pain, but about developing the fortitude to move through it without being broken. The unshakable know that every moment of discomfort is an investment in their future stability, making them stronger, wiser, and more capable with each challenge they overcome. The opinions of others are like shifting sands. Building your sense of worth upon them ensures instability. Many people live in constant pursuit of validation, measuring their success by the approval they receive from peers, society, or even strangers. This dependence on external affirmation is a fragile way to live, as it leaves one vulnerable to every passing judgment or criticism. The unshakable, however, derive their confidence from within. They do not ignore feedback or live in isolation, but they refuse to let others' opinions dictate their self-worth. This detachment is not arrogance, it is a quiet assurance in one's own values and principles. It comes from a deep understanding that no one else can define your worth or determine your path. This mindset is cultivated through self-awareness and self-respect. The unshakable know their strengths and weaknesses, and they do not need others to affirm them. They recognize that criticism often says more about the critic than the person being criticized. Similarly, praise is accepted graciously but not relied upon as a measure of success. This inner security allows them to remain steady in the face of both admiration and scorn. They are not swayed by trends or societal pressures because their compass is internal. This does not mean they are immune to doubt or insecurity. Everyone experiences these emotions, but they do not allow them to dictate their actions. The unshakable practice self-validation, measuring their progress against their own standards rather than external benchmarks. This independence of mind is liberating. It frees them from the exhausting cycle of seeking approval and fearing rejection. They can take risks, speak their truth, and pursue unconventional paths without being paralyzed by the fear of judgment. This detachment also fosters authenticity. When you are not trying to please everyone, you can show up as your true self unapologetically. Over time, this authenticity attracts the right opportunities and relationships, those that align with your genuine values rather than superficial expectations. The unshakable understand that the only validation that truly matters is their own, and this knowledge grants them an unshakable sense of peace and confidence. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement, the daily practice that transforms principles into unshakable strength. Without it, even the most inspiring goals remain out of reach. Discipline is often misunderstood as punishment or deprivation, but in truth, it is the highest form of self-respect. It is the commitment to do what is necessary even when it is difficult, because you value the long-term result more than the short-term comfort. The unshakable do not rely on motivation, which is fleeting and unreliable. Instead, they rely on discipline, the decision to act regardless of how they feel in the moment. This consistency is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Discipline begins with small, daily choices. Waking up early, maintaining focus, rejecting distractions, and following through on commitments. These seemingly minor actions compound over time into unshakable habits. The unshakable do not wait for the perfect moment to begin. They start where they are, with what they have, and persist through obstacles. They understand that progress is not linear. There will be setbacks and plateaus. But discipline ensures they keep moving forward. This steadfastness applies to all areas of life: physical health, mental clarity, emotional resilience, and professional growth. Each requires consistent effort, and discipline is the thread that ties them together. It is also a form of self-trust. Every time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, you reinforce the belief that you are capable and reliable. This builds inner confidence, the kind that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. Discipline is not about perfection, it is about persistence. The unshakable do not berate themselves for occasional lapses, but simply recommit to the path. Over time, discipline becomes second nature, a way of life rather than a struggle. It is the quiet power that underlies all other principles of becoming unshakable. Without it, self-mastery falters, purpose remains unfulfilled. Discomfort is avoided, and external validation regains its hold. But with it, every challenge becomes manageable, every goal attainable, and every setback a temporary pause rather than a defeat. Discipline is the unwavering force that ensures you remain standing no matter what life brings. Becoming unshakable is not an overnight transformation. It is a lifelong commitment to mastering the self, living with purpose, embracing discomfort, detaching from external validation, and practicing unwavering discipline. These principles are not mere ideas, they are choices, actions, and habits that must be cultivated daily. True strength is not the absence of fear or doubt, but the ability to move forward despite them. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you have faced challenges before and emerged stronger. It is the resilience that allows you to stand firm when others waver, to remain steady when the world around you is in chaos. The journey begins with a single decision: to no longer be at the mercy of circumstance, but to take control of your mind, your actions, and your life. Every moment of discipline, every step taken in alignment with purpose, every instance of choosing growth over comfort, these are the building blocks of an unshakable existence. There will be storms. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when fatigue tempts you to quit, when the opinions of others threaten to sway you. But if you hold to these principles, if you master yourself, stay true to your purpose, seek discomfort, remain indifferent to fleeting judgments, and act with discipline, nothing will be able to shake you. The choice is yours. Will you be swayed by the winds of change, or will you stand firm, rooted in strength? Will you live at the mercy of external forces, or will you become unshakable? The path is clear. The time to begin is now.